Oh wow, best 80s toys of all time.
If you were an 80s child, you'll definitely recognise the best 80s toys. So have a break and take a stroll down memory lane. Duran Duran is on the radio, the threat of nuclear war is imminent, and you just stood on some Lego in bare feet. Good times. Number 7.
Oh, it's the Hulkamania!
Wrestling superstars were the original toys based on the World Wrestling Federation. They were produced from 1984 to 1989 and were made of solid rubber. These figures saw some super 80s schoolyard matches with the likes of Hulk Hogan and the Junkyard Dog taking on the Iron Sheik and George the Animal Steel. Because these figures had no movable joints, they were pretty much held by the feet and used like a tennis racket, sending the opponent flying across the room and into mum's vases. Number 6. My Little Pony. My Little Pony by Hasbro was released in 1983. The palm-sized ponies featured colourful manes and tails and had a unique symbol on either sides of their body. There were many variations of the ponies subsequently released, including Pegasus, Unicorn, Flutter, and the Sea Ponies. Basically the same thing with a few minor changes. Hasbro had little girls everywhere shelling out cash to keep up with the trend, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Hasbro has been peddling these ponies ever since. Number 5. Star Wars figures. Based on the mega hit Star Wars films, the Star Wars action figures produced by Kenner were basically a license to print Republic credits. Released in waves to coincide with the first 3 films, these toys allowed children everywhere to recreate their favourite battle scenes. To date, Star Wars toys have grossed more than $12 billion. That's almost as much as ticket sales, DVD and book sales, and video game sales all put together. Number 4. Oh, I'm Teddy Ruxpin. The best-selling toy of 1985 and 1986, Teddy Ruxpin was a bear that would read stories to you via the cassette stowed away in his back. Later, Teddy was upgraded to digital cartridge, giving him an increased vocabulary. Teddy Ruxpin was the teddy bear equivalent of Chucky, and I'm sure he scared the crap out of any child who forgot to turn him off at night.
Let's slice our eyelids off.
Number 3. The Cabbage Patch Kids. The original concept of the Cabbage Patch Kids is credited to Xavier Roberts, who created the Little People. In 1982, Roger Schlafer secured the distribution rights and changed their names to the Cabbage Patch Kids. Schlafer then co-authored the story of the Cabbage Patch Kids with his wife. In the story, the evil Lavender McDade would force these babies to work in a gold mine unless they were adopted and went to a good home. This marketing power play saw the dolls race off the shelves as small children everywhere convinced their parents that they had to save a Cabbage Patch Kid from certain slavery. Number 2. The Rubik's Cube. The Rubik's Cube was invented by Hungarian professor of architecture Erno Rubik. It is possibly the world's best-selling toy of all time, with more than 350 million cubes sold to date. The Rubik's Cube was an endless source of frustration for many children during the 80s. The only real way to solve it is to steam the stickers off the cube with a kettle and replace them in coloured order. The Rubik's Cube also made a great projectile to throw at your sister when she came into your room without asking. Number 1. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. In the late 1970s, Mattel declined a deal to produce action figures based on a never-heard-before film Star Wars. After the head honchos pulled themselves back from the ledge, they decided that an action figure franchise was indeed the way to go. A lead designer by the name of Roger Sweet built a model out of clay and plaster, and the legend of He-Man was born. With the exception of a few female characters, the Masters of the Universe were essentially extremely buff men dressed up in little more than underwear and furry boots. Kids everywhere must have just assumed that Eternia had really hot weather all the time, and would waste away their days commanding He-Man's army against the evil forces of Skeletor. Well, it's about time we stop playing with our toys. Thanks heaps for watching. We have new videos coming every week, so hit subscribe to keep up to date with all the Slapped Ham mayhem. Don't forget we're on Facebook and Twitter too. The links are in the description below. And this is the Slapped Ham signing off.